Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend this Impact Den event, which is hosted by UVU's Women in Business Impact Lab in partnership with UVU Executive Education. My name is Kelly Hall. I'm a faculty member here in the Woodbury School of Business and director of our Impact Lab. And I am super excited to introduce our speaker for today. We have Kristine Widtfelt with us. Kristine serves as the Chief Marketing Officer at RevRoad, and for over 20 years, she has served as a CEO, CMO, VP, and president of leading brands of consumer goods, services, and education. Across her career, she has worn many hats, including being a film critic, a magazine editor, broadcaster, executive coach, and she has also ghostwritten more than a dozen books and training courses. She is also a judge. She served as a judge in our case competition last week. But of all the roles that she has served in, her favorite is being a mom of three and wife to Pete. She is passionate about supporting and developing new talent, helping people identify goals and healthy pathways for achieving those goals, and helping people reclaim their time and priorities in simplifying and finding joy. And if all of that doesn't intrigue you enough, I can also tell you that Kristine was on an episode of ABC's 2020, which was titled Taboos, Things You Can't Do in America. So if you want to know what hers is, you're going to have to catch her after the event, because now I'm going to hand the mic over to her so she can share some tips with us for leading with less. Kristine.
Thanks, Kelly. Can I hook this in here? Actually, I think I'll just hold it. I'm a holder. It makes me feel like I'm hosting a talk show. Welcome, everyone. Who is your biological father? No, we won't go there. Thanks for having me, and thanks for showing up to have some delicious crepes and bacon and all the good things. If you don't have, we have green pens on the table. Root around or share with your neighbor to find something to write on, because there will be an interactive portion. We're going to do some fun things. So first of all, out of curiosity, how many of you are students at UVU? I just want to get a good feel. How many of you are somehow connected to UVU as employees or professors? Awesome. And how many of you are just within the community and industry and just here to be here? Sweet. Oh gosh, it's like a third. I love it. Well, first, by way of introduction, beyond what Kelly just shared, I am a recovering perfectionist. And so I am practicing the art of saying no. And I'm failing most of the time, and I am trying to be comfortable with being okay at being okay and not needing to be the first in line. I grew up as one of the oval blackeners of the standard tests, as many of us are, right? We spend our lives with sharpened number 2 pencils, blackening A, B, C's, and D's on different tests to assess our smarts and our worth or our ability to get into college or whatever else it may be. And one time when I was like in 3rd grade, I took one of these standardized tests, and they provided the report back, and I gave it to my mother, who is here. Hi, Mom. Mom's still so awesome. Gave it to my mother, and it said that I had scored in the 99th percentile. Now, those of you who know statistics know that there is no such thing as the 100th percentile. You can be in the 99th percentile, but there isn't a 100th percentile. But I'm in 3rd grade. I don't know how statistics work, and I give it to my mom, and I say, what does this mean that I am in the 99th percentile? She says, well, it means theoretically, if there were 100 kids taking this same test that you just took, only one of them would score higher than you. She said, I stayed up all night wondering, who is that kid? There is no kid. There is no kid. And in fact, if we spend our lives wondering how to be better, how to be the 100th percentile, it's actually super stressful, super exhausting, and can get in our way of achievement. So this is a picture of me that shows up on the advertising for this event. This is the Kristine that I would love to present to the world consistently. My hair is a helmet, not one single strand moves, even in a brisk wind, which is exactly the way I like it. But it's not necessarily real. I don't live in that space 24/7. This is the space that's okay to be seen. And I have to tell you, I feel super vulnerable even showing you this picture, because this is the way that Kristine gets stuff done. With a giant 44-ounce Diet Coke by my side, a Yorkie on my lap, no makeup, kind of bad hair. I'm actually making this presentation at the moment. That is okay. It's a little less than perfect, and it makes me a little uncomfortable. But if you want to know, do you ever see those I woke up like this pictures? Okay, this is what I look like when I wake up. So this is what it looks like if I'm leading with less. When I roll out of bed, that's the real, true Kristine Widtfelt, and I really don't want people to see it. I gave this presentation a while back, and a man at the back of the room said, I actually like you better after you showing that picture, so hopefully you will feel the same. But that's the real Kristine Widtfelt. So let's look at this for yourself as well. I'm going to show you 3 different pictures. You are giving a gift to a friend. And it's a heartfelt gift, and you love this friend. Look at the picture on the left. That is probably our ideal. This is our ideal gift. Look at this. It's got bows and ribbons, and there was tape involved in making this gift happen. Then we've got the go-to. It's probably a-okay, the gift bag. The go-to gift bag, you don't have to worry about any tape. You can plop it and drop it, fluff some paper, and off you go. And then there is the I am giving it to you in the bag that it came in, and I hope the receipt isn't at the bottom option. Now I want you to look at that and go like, which one's okay? Which one's okay for me? Do I need to be? And it's a-okay if I'm giving a gift to a friend, it needs all the bells and whistles, or the bag is okay, or the store bag is just fine as well. Look at that for a sec. Which one feels right? And some of you are like, it's always the brown bag, and I am so okay with that. If you're already there, you can just have another serving of bacon and relax, because this class is not for you. Here's another one. You're inviting some people that you love and care about, your extended family, over for a beautiful Easter brunch. And they are coming over this Sunday, and you are thinking about the menu, and you want to make it awesome, and you love these people. Does the place setting on the left resonate with you? This is what I'm going for. 3 or 4 plates, multiple utensils. I have to work from the outside in on all my forks. Or this very simple place setting, it's appropriate for spring. It's a little bit minimalist, but it does the job. Or, my gosh, I need a plastic gingham thing that at the end of it, I can just literally ball it all up and throw it into the garbage, and it's over with, and that's okay. Or maybe the red and white gingham plastic option makes you cringe. Like, that is not okay. Not the way to host a party. So, the 2 takeaways that are in here for me is, first of all, it's a heartfelt gift. Doesn't matter what it's wrapped in, it's from you and it's heartfelt. And your dinner party, if it's a great get-together with friends, they should love you even if they're eating on plastic. But if you're like me, you've got to do it a little bigger. You've got to be that 99th percentile. Who is the one kid who might be doing better than me? There's no one kid. Spoiler alert, there is no one kid. So in the next couple of minutes, we're going to focus on 3 different simplifying superpowers. I have literally taught this method to hundreds of leaders. I have coached top executives. We have worked through this process. I'm telling you, it works. And some of it you're going to scoff at. Sometimes common sense is not common practice. But I promise you that if you do this, you will be able to master your time, magnify your personal magic, and multiply the work of others so that you do not have to do it all, despite what you might think. So whether you are leading a family, leading a class, leading a company, or just leading your own best life, I hope there's something in here that you can put to work. So first of all, let's look at mastering our time. Has anybody heard this quote before? I think it's attributed to Ben Franklin. Does this quote sound familiar to you? If you want something done, ask a busy person or give it to a busy person. I used to love this quote because I am the busy person who will get stuff done. However, I have come to actually despise this quote because I think it leads us in the wrong direction. Here's the quote that I wish we were saying. If you want something important done, give it to a productive person. I would much rather be a productive person than to be a busy person. But many of us confuse the two, and we live in a state of busyness rather than business. So let's compare the two. Let's look at busyness first. You know that you have had a day that is comprised of busyness when it feels activity focused. I am running from activity to activity, from tactic to tactic to tactic. It feels chaotic and slightly out of control. You are the Yorkie being pulled behind the 100-mile-an-hour freight train. You are not driving the train. It feels exhausting and as though it is never ending, and it demands your urgency. Now, the flip side of this coin is business, when you are getting business done. And there is a counterpoint to every single one of these. What does business look like? It's not activity focused, it's growth focused. How am I helping? How am I fueling? How am I advancing? It is intentional rather than chaotic. It is fueling. It fills you up like, man, this is a day. You know, when you climb into bed after a day of business, it feels incredibly satisfying because it has been prioritized, and it doesn't just need your attention, your body, your space. It needs your genius. You get to bring something to the table and leave it there. That is the difference between busyness and business. So how do we get there? Okay, this is part of our interactive portion of the show, so we're going to do a little quiz. And I hope this is revelatory for you and a little bit fun, too. It's called My Top 10 Time Tamers. And the answer at the end of this is, do you own your day, or does your day own you? And so you can score it yourself. You do not have to share with anybody else unless you feel like it. But I'm going to give you 10 different activities, and I want you to score yourself on whether you do these daily activities always. If you do it always, give yourself 3 points. If you do it sometimes, give yourself 2 points. And if it is not something you do ever, give yourself 1 point. See, that's the cool thing about quizzes when you're not in school. You get a point for doing something never. Isn't that awesome? Just for showing up, you're going to get a point. So let's look at these 10 different activities, and we'll explore them a little bit as we go through them. Okay, top 10 time tamer number 1 is, do you to bed and get up every day at the same time? Más o menos 5-10 minutes. Okay, so it doesn't have to be like, I get up at 6:51. But if you get up within 5 to 10 minutes, every single day, even Saturdays and Sundays, if you do that every day, give yourself a 3. If you do occasionally, but maybe not weekends, give yourself a 2. And if you get up at all different times and go to bed at all different times every night, give yourself 1 point. Okay, I told you don't have to share a score, but I'm curious, did anybody here give themselves a 3 for this? Anybody go to bed and get up at exactly the same time every day? Okay, just out of curiosity, there's another hand over here. You as well? So 2 of you do it every day. Question for you. Do you use an alarm clock? Do you need an alarm clock? She's shaking her head vigorously. No. No. Do you use an alarm clock? Okay, your body is the most powerful clock in the entire world. When we resist it, we need reminders and alarms to jolt us and jar us to sleep and out of sleep. When you get up and go to bed within 5 to 10 minutes every single day, your body will be the most powerful clock, and you will awake more refreshed, more productive. So way to go. You will find it like, do I really not need an alarm clock? You won't need an alarm clock because your body will know it, and you will automatically be ready for a day of, do I need to switch my mic? It does keep cutting out. I'm noticing that.
I'm trying not to hold at the bottom because that's the...
Is that my mic part? Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. So don't fight your body clock. And that's an easy change. You want to get more life out of your life? Go to bed and get up at the same time. We tell ourselves, it's been a hard week. I'm going to sleep in this weekend. You know what you're doing? You're actually saying, could I please ruin my productivity? And there are times, I get it. There are times when we're recovering from a huge event or when we've been on vacation where we just need to give our bodies some rest, but you are not doing your productivity any favors in taming the chaos of your life when you reset that clock. So that's time tamer number 1. Number 2, make your bed. This is the part of the show where I am your mom. Make your bed. How many of you make your bed every single day? If you do it every day, give yourself a 3. 2, sometimes it's so busy, I just hope nobody comes into my room. And number 1, I never make my bed because I'm going to get back in it in another 12 hours. I think that totally counts. Do you call? It's like, send me a screenshot, Brent. Make sure you. I need proof. It is true. When you're the person who gets up first, it can be hard to make it. So score yourself on make your bed. Why in the world is that a time tamer? Anybody got an idea about why I put that on reclaiming your time? You're like, no. Please tell us. Yeah.
Maybe it just resets your mind, kind of like I'm making my bed, so I'm like resetting my day.
I love that. I love that. You're right on track. The making of the bed is the first accomplishment of the day. And we all have a microprocessor in the back of our head that gets hotter and hotter as things get more and more chaotic. If you leave that one tiny piece of chaos undone, it is the way of saying to the universe, I may not get everything done today, but I've gotten this done. And it does. It resets your day. And it takes, how long does it take to make a bed? Unless you have 87 pillows on your bed like I do. It takes under 1 minute. Give yourself 1 minute when your feet hit the floor. Make the bed. Your first check mark of the day is done. And the microprocessor in the back of your brain starts to cool. Absolutely does. Okay, number 3, write a daily to-do list of all the things that you want to get done, meetings that you have planned. You can do it on your phone. You can do it physically on a piece of paper. Write a daily to-do list. Anybody do this? Anybody give yourself a 3 on this? Okay, tell me why. What's the benefit to you of writing your daily to-do list, Katie?
I know that other things are going to come up during my day, and so laying out what I have to do and then saving a column for the things that are going to come up keeps me organized.
You even saved the column for the mishaps and chaos to creep in. I love that. Like, make space for chaos. Somebody else over here had a 3. Was that you who did it? 3? Yeah, okay. What do you get out of the daily to-do list?
Very similar, but I also like to check things off the list. That tells my brain and my body that I have accomplished things. So it was a good, cause and effect.
I love this. I put stuff on Saturdays on my to-do list that say things like, do the laundry, get the mail from the mailbox, because I'm such a productivity junkie that when I get the mail from the mailbox, I get to check it off. Ooh, it's a nice little endorphin boost. What else? Anybody else got something that you get if you're a daily to-do lister? What else does it do? Anything else? I think those are great. I'm not looking for a specific answer. Just love yours.
Is it okay if you make a mental checklist and then you check them off in your brain?
Ooh, no. Bah. Do you know why? Because then you are keeping it in your mind. And what I'm trying to help everyone do is keep your mind for the highest possible potential activities. And when we keep it in our mind, what is it? It's that microprocessor. One more time. We sleep better when we make a to-do list because we literally transferring, oopsie, I'm not even touching the bottom. We're literally transferring all the things, all the worries and hurries and everything else that's in our brain to something else. To our phone, to a piece of paper. We get to bless and release something. So I actually think you're amazing if you can hold it in your brain. For most of us mere mortals, we need to put it somewhere else. Give it somewhere else so that your time and your brain can be spent for higher level activities than I need to take the dog to the groomer, I need to make sure to pay this bill. Give that to a piece of paper. You've got better things to do. For sure. Okay, number 4, prep the night before. Do you lay out your clothes just like you did when you were in grade school? Choose your outfit the night before. Do you know what you're going to make for dinner the next day? Do you pack your lunch the next day? Prep the night before. 3, 2, or 1. Any ideas on why this is a time tamer? Because technically, it takes the same amount of time, Kristine. If I do this, if I spend 5 minutes choosing my outfit on Tuesday night or 5 minutes on Wednesday morning, it's still 5 minutes. You haven't saved me any time. Why in the world am I suggesting that you prep the night before, from lunches to clothing? Yeah.
So I do this every day. And for me, it's because if I do it the night before, then the morning of, I don't have to think about it. And I just grab the clothes and go get dressed.
And you'll be on time.
Yeah.
You'll be on time. That's true. Mornings are mornings can be a little bit more chaotic than night. There's another great reason, there's another actual scientific real reason that prepping the night before helps, and that is because our brain does not work on quality of time is not consistent. The quality of our mental energy is at its peak in the morning. Why would I use my very best thinking time, my wisest brain calories, choosing whether I want to wear the pink turtleneck or the green turtleneck? I need to make those decisions, my lowest value decisions, when I'm maybe a little bit more tired or I'm over it for the day. And you know that, right? You have certain cycles of the day when you are just more energized, and other times I always called it like gold, silver, or bronze time. Choosing my outfit for the day can be done not even in bronze time, it can be done in brass time. Gold time, when we wake up in the morning and we are energized and thinking about our day, there is a reason that Steve Jobs wore the exact same clothes every day, because he did not want to worry about the decision fatigue of packing lunches and choosing clothes. They're important things to do, but do it when your mental energy is not at its peak, which is morning time. And we're also in a hurry to make sure we get to places on time. Honor office hours and meeting-free zones. If you work in an environment where they say, we have a meeting-free Friday, but it's just a guideline, we just call those. Or you tell your team or your classmates or your partners, I'm available for meetings until 5 o'clock, but then when somebody says, can I meet at 7, you say, sure. How good are you at honoring your meeting-free zones and your own personal availability and office hours? If you're great at this, why this one? Why this one? As a leader, why is it important to honor this one? If you do it well, why do you do it, and what are the benefits, I guess, is the question. Anybody score a 3 in this one? Sure.
I didn't do a 3, but I think it's because you have to set an example for your employees.
I love that. I think that's a great one. You are setting an example, and especially if you are, if you are a leader of a family, a class, a team, a company, you think you are doing awesome sauce by being available all the time. What you are signaling to everyone else is that you are not duplicable, and they are expected to do exactly the same thing. I think I'm a hero when I send my entire team an email on Saturday afternoon because I'm getting stuff done. What they are reading is, do I have to work on Saturday too? Absolutely. So, number 6, quiet your mind. How many of you quiet your mind on the daily? This can be meditation, like 10 to 15 minutes tops. A moment of meditation, listening to the Calm app. It can be prayer. It can be reading a good book. It can be a piece of scripture study. It can be yoga. But how many of you take the time to carve out intentionally, maybe it's on that to-do list, time to quiet your mind? Hopefully, the benefit of that is obvious, but again, common sense is not common practice. We know that this could help us recenter and breathe through our day, but we often don't do it. I typically, when I get to the office, I park and then I sit in my car for a minute. I make myself sit in my car instead of just grabbing my Stanley and my laptop and bolting into the office. I turn off the car and I just sit there. And for me, I thank my God for getting me there safely and for protecting my children. And I ask that I can show up okay today and that I can be the person that I need to be for other people. And I just sit there until I feel like I can. And some days it's like 2 minutes. Some days it's longer than that. Quiet your mind. 3, 2, 1. Everybody got their score? Okay, activate your body. You know this is going to be the flip side of this. What do they say? Sitting is the new smoking. We are a society that sits. We sit in classes. We sit behind screens. We sit for recreation. We Netflix and chill, and then we relax by watching more screens after we have stared at a screen. That's what we do. It's crazy, but it doesn't make any sense. So activate your body, and this can be 15 minutes a day. If you are working remotely, if you're walking around campus, whatever you're doing, you get up, you push back from the chair, and you may walk around the block. You may go on a quick jog with your dog. You may do a lot more. You may be training for a marathon. It does not have to be huge, but 3 points if you spend at least 15 minutes every single day intentionally moving the body that you were born with, and it's the only one you get for your whole mortal existence. So if you're not getting it up and walking it around, 3, 2, 1. Number 8, do you turn off your notifications while you're working on an important task? How much does the red bubble haunt you? Whether it's the notification bubble for a text or another email, are we all not like squirrels? Oh, look, I got a red bubble. Somebody wants to talk to me. I got another, and there is like no way to escape it. You can be slacked while you're sitting on the toilet. You get a text while you're driving in the car. I've installed an app from my insurance company that monitors my distractions while I'm driving, and I hate it so much. But I'm trying to do the right thing and not only get a better discount on my insurance. I'm trying to do better, and I had no idea how much I was touching my phone or even starting and stopping my podcast while I was driving. Holy cow, not until you get an app that reminds you of how distracted you are, do you even know how distracted you are. But it takes on average for every distraction that we have, every ping, takes between 2 and 20 minutes to recenter ourselves. So if you're working on a task and you have your notifications on, even if you don't look at it, the very act of the ding or the buzz, the haptic of your watch, will take you a while to get back down into the space of productivity that you're in. Do you find that? That you're like, now where was I? What was I just reading? What was I just writing? So turn off your notifications while you're working. Number 9, give yourself a score of 3 if you work in natural light every day. Or if you are one of the many fluorescent basement dwellers, like I have been for a long time. Do you work in natural light? Benefits of natural light: we need that relief from our eye strain as we look at different computers or read books. We need the natural light, the endorphins, the vitamin D, everything that comes from sunshine. And double dose. If we get up and walk around and activate our body and do it in natural light, you get 2 points just for doing that. So score yourself if your environment of working lets you literally have natural light falling across your body as you're working. Okay, got your score there. And our last one is, how many of you say kind words to yourself? I know that you're like, this is so frou-frou. I thought I was going to learn to lead with less. How many of you say kind words to yourself? Some people might call it a mantra or a personal saying. But how many of you look at yourself in the mirror before you leave for work every day and say something simple, sassy, true, derivative, something as easy as, you got this. You got this, Katie. You got this, Brianna. For me, there are 2 things that, see, I'm holding it too low again. Can be taught. There are 2 things that I say every single day. One of them is, neither one of them are mine, but they both help me. One of them is, that which we persist in doing becomes easier. Not that the nature of the thing itself has changed, but that our ability to do it has increased. It reminds me to persist. Like, show up, persist. So I started a new job a couple of months ago. It's hard. It's hard. I recite that to myself in the mirror every day. That which you persist in doing becomes easier. Not that the nature of the thing itself has changed, but your ability, and I look at myself when I'm saying it, your ability to do it will increase. The second thing I say is from Harry Styles. I've been saying it for about 1.5 years. Thank you, Harry. But I love it. It blesses my life. I say it literally every day. It is simply this: everything to accomplish, nothing to prove. You don't have anything to prove to anyone, Kristine, but you've got everything to accomplish. What kind words do you say to yourself? And it is a powerful, powerful fuel. Say it to yourself in the mirror. It can be as simple as, "You got this." It can be as long as the introduction to the Canterbury Tales by Chaucer. I don't care what it is, but give yourself a 3 if you look yourself in the mirror and are like, "You are a bad A today." A 2 if you do it sometimes, and give yourself a 1 if you're a never, but you're so going to start doing this. Okay, and there's a bonus. There's a bonus one. I know I said there were 10, but there is a bonus, and that is if you use a time blocking strategy. So this is a way, if you're looking at your points, you're like, "Oh, my points are low." Anybody know what a time blocking strategy is? Anybody know what that is? Has anyone in here? Yes, what is a time blocking strategy?
I'm thinking, like, I'm visualizing, I'm like, in my calendar, like, I block out, like, this time to this time is, like, getting kids ready for school. Like, this time, I'm choosing what project to work on in the house. Like, just making, these are the times for this thing to happen and the next thing. I don't know.
Love it. Yes.
Is that it?
I love, first of all, there's no wrong answer. And I love that you're like, is that it? Is that the answer? Yeah, exactly though. Blocks of time that you reserve for specific activities. Do you do this? Or do you simply just write down a list of things that you've got to do? Yes, organized one.
At my office, people can see your Outlook calendar and not necessarily what's happening. So I'll block hours at a time so that people can't book me during that time for meetings. That's the only way I have time.
Good work done. Yeah, and I tend to reserve it in the hours when I know I'm most productive. I do the same thing. My calendar, it says Kristine is in the tall grass. And people know that when I've got tall grass time booked out, I am hunting lions and bears. Like, leave Kristine alone. She is in the tall grass. Yeah, so book yourself some tall grass time. There is a technique that if you don't do it, if you're like, "I don't really do this, I do make a to-do list, but I don't know a time blocking strategy," I'm going to give you one in just a second that you can try, and I really love it. Okay, you ready for your scores? Total them up. What's fun about this is that the scores go to 30. You can get your score may be as low as 10, 11, but you can get as high as 33. And we'll only score you on 30, so it's like getting 3 bonus points. So you should have somewhere between 11 and 33. Yes? All right. Are you one of my productivity pros? Are you a stressed striver or are you a ragged runner? Look at that for a minute. First of all, does it surprise you how hard it is to be a productivity pro? When I have given this presentation, like I said, to hundreds of different leaders, students, parents, only about 10% typically end up in the productivity pro area. So if you're not there, welcome to humanity. Welcome to all of us. Out of curiosity, anybody in the productivity pro scoring range who wishes to share? Just for my own purpose, I love to see if I'm tracking at about 10%. Not surprising. I've got anybody beyond the 1? Raise your hand high if you're there. 2, 3. I've got 3. 3 of about 30. 10%. It holds. It's a thing. It's a thing. So for the other 90%ers, if you take nothing else away from this morning other than a delicious breakfast, make your bed. Sit in natural light. Say kind words to yourself. It will fuel your mind and your body so that you own your day and your day does not own you. I know. I told you we were going to talk about leading with less, but that's backing away from perfectionism. It's not necessarily just cutting things out. Do these few simple things. Pick one. So, here's another thing that I will give you as a tip. Sometimes we focus on the thing that we are the worst at and want to change. Do you know that we actually dramatically improve our productivity by focusing on the things we're kind of good at and making them a little better, it is a lot easier to take something from a 2 to a 3 than a 1 to a 3. So pick something that's a 1 for you and move it to a 2. Something that you never do and be like, I'm going to try this from time to time. Do something that you do sometimes and make it an everyday. I can make my bed every day. I can say kind words to myself every day. I can make sure I'm getting up and going to bed every day. I'm going to try it for a few weeks. I'm going to put some faith in what Kristine said. I do it right now, Monday through Friday. I'm going to try it for the next month, doing it on Saturday and Sunday, and see if I'm like my peeps here who literally wake up. I'll bet you wake up within 1 to 2 minutes of your natural time every single day because your body clock is so in sync. So trust me on this. Choose, if you want to improve your score and radically reduce the way that you feel about being a ragged runner in your life or constantly stressed. And I'm telling you, if you are one of my 10 to 18 folks, your life is stressful. It is hard. It is exhausting. You feel burned out. You are falling asleep in class. You are exhausted after work and don't have any space for anything else. Include 1 or 2 of these things in your daily life. Move a sometimes to an always. Have a good day at class, Trey. See you later. And you will see a big, big difference. So that's this piece. Let's look at a time blocking strategy for just a couple minutes. It's one of my faves. Anybody heard of the Pomodoro technique? Oh, of course you have. You are my face of love, Charlotte Butler. I'm digging you. The Pomodoro technique is one of my favorite to use techniques for effective time blocking. So if you don't currently use this, it's a great place to start. It is named after the tiny little tomato, the pomodoro. You can even buy Pomodoro timers on Amazon that look like tomatoes. If you want to try this, and they're super cheap, they're under $10. Here's how the Pomodoro technique works and who it's for. If you are a person who does get derailed by the yellow or the red notification bubble, if you are a person who has a lot of ongoing work that does not have an end. So if you're a student, if you're an executive, if you're a professor, this applies to you. It's less so than if your work is, I do it while I'm here, but then when I'm gone, there is no work. But if you've got a lot of work that's never ending, if you struggle to estimate how long a task will take, that you're like, oh, holy cow, I thought I would punch that out in an hour. And it took, okay, side note, my husband, we live 20 minutes away from a Costco. My husband will regularly say, I'm going to run to Costco to get some milk, and I'll be back in 15 minutes for dinner. And I always say, no, you won't. We live 20 minutes away from a Costco. By the time you go to Costco, 20 minutes. By the time you get the milk, 10 minutes. By the time you come home from Costco, 20 minutes. That's 50 minutes. I'll see you in an hour. And he's like, an hour? It's not going to take me an hour to go get milk. We live 20 minutes from a Costco. But he's terrible at estimating his time. So if that relates to you where you're like, I had no idea it actually takes an hour to go to Costco to get milk. If you procrastinate really important tasks and then you lie to yourself and you say, but I'm better when I'm panicking. I write the paper better when I've only got 3 hours before it's due. Oh, bless your heart. You keep telling yourself that. Let's look at how the Pomodoro technique works. Remember I talked about gold, silver, and bronze time. It works like this. You'll set a timer, literally a timer. Set it on your phone for 25 minutes when you've got something to do, a paper to write, a project to plan, a PowerPoint to develop. Work on the task focused hard, like you are running a sprint. The laundry does not need to be changed. You do not need to go to the bathroom. Your dog does not need to go out during these 25 minutes. You focus on the task. Ding, the timer's up. You can do anything for 25 minutes, except maybe a wall squat, which is very difficult to do. 25 minutes. Then take a 5-minute break. We get ourselves a drink of water. We use the restroom. We stretch. We're right in the middle of the beast. You don't have to tell yourself, I'm going to work on this all day. 25 minutes. Ding. 5-minute break. Then lather, rinse, repeat. Every 4 Pomodoros, which is 2 hours, you take between a 20 or 15 and a 30-minute break. This is where you get to have lunch. Ooh, we get to quiet our mind. We get to activate our body. We're going to go walk around campus. We're going to go jog around the block. but we give ourselves a 30-minute break. And then here are some guidelines. Group similar tasks. So because your brain, once it's on a train, it wants to chug right down that track faster and faster and faster. So if you've got a lot to do for a particular client or a particular class, stay on that track. Make all 4 of your Pomodoros same track related. Chugga, 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 chugga. You will find that those 4 repeated 25-minute blocks are super productive. Secondly, oops, I went away. Help me fix myself. Thank you.
Quiet your mind.
I will quiet my mind. My mind is so quiet, it's like in Aruba right now. But the second piece is you know when you are your most productive self. For some of you, my husband, it's late at night. He is a natural late night owl. He's a videographer and he does a lot of think work and editing, and he does that really well in the wee hours of the night. I would be a zombie. So you know yourself. Either decide, am I going to do my biggest think work, my gold Pomodoros? Are those going to happen first thing in the morning? Are those going to happen in the afternoon? Or are those going to happen in the evening? So you have to decide, I'm going to punch out my silver tasks now, or I'm going to punch out my bronze tasks. I can't prescribe that for you, but you can. Did I kill it? Kinda. Oh. We need all the power. Was that not actually plugged into anything?
Not a good way to be productive.
Running on no battery. Let's see if we can do this. We're almost there. You guys are so great. All right. Here it comes. It's thinking about it. I've got the screen. Do you? Ooh, do I need to leave the presentation? Okay. We might need help bringing it back on the screen. I'm good at a lot of things. Not this. Not this. Thank you, so sorry. So that's the Pomodoro technique. Try it if you haven't before. Unless you already work with a time blocking strategy that you love, and that's super awesome. Let's look at, you can see my unicorn. Thank you. You're so awesome. Spend a second or two as we wind up looking at magnifying your magic. So we've talked most of this presentation really is about you and getting control of your time. But there are 2 last tips. One of them is magnifying your magic, and I want you to look at this fun video that might, let's see. Actually, I'll do this in a sec. Magnifying your magic is about knowing what you're great at, because we have so much to do that it's really hard to know what I'm great at. I have to be good at everything, because I am a student, I'm a parent, I'm an employee, I'm a chauffeur, I'm a neighbor, I'm a friend. How do I know where to start prioritizing with what I'm great at? Here's an exercise, and we have a couple minutes, so I'm going to have you do it. It's called Flow, Go, and Know. So state of flow, state of go, and state of know. I'm going to give you, it says 5 minutes, but I'm going to give you a 3. Because I think you can do this. State of flow, these are activities that you do, and they are almost effortless. Like, you love to do this. It energizes you. It pumps you up. When you are working on projects that are like this, you feel alive and awesome and in your zone. People often talk about being in the zone when they are working on state of flow. State of go, these are things I can do. I have a competency in. I actually like doing them. They may not be my first choice, but I can do them. And then there's state of no. This is the thing that you procrastinate. For me, this is my taxes. This is looking at a P&L. I can do it. I've had to, as a CEO, become proficient in the company's financials. But my gosh, it's a slog. It will take me twice as long as my CEO to review our financials as it will for him, because it's a flow state activity for him, and it is a no state activity for me. So take a couple of minutes and make a list of at least 5 tasks. They can be personal or professional. They can be making dinner. They can be vacuuming. They can be exercising. They can be networking. make a list of at least 5 items, tasks, in state of flow, state of go, and state of no for you. Personal, professional, academic. Go for it. Okay. You can keep adding to it while we're looking at this. Now, I really want you to look at both your flow and your no, because they should be 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. And hopefully this doesn't surprise you, but regularly when I do this, people are surprised because there are so many things that they have to do. We become a little numb to understanding the things that we love to do because we have to do so many things. And we try to be positive, that we try to tell ourselves, I love to do everything. I love to clean my toilets because I need to do it, so I'll do it with a smile. So this exercise hopefully is liberating because you're like, I get to choose the things that I'm truly passionate about and love doing, and things that if I never had to do them again, I would be fine to never have to do them again. Anybody willing to share some of the things that are on your flow? What did you learn about yourself that you're like, I love doing these things? Yeah, Andy, go ahead.
Hi, good morning. My flow state is networking, meeting new people, learning new things, exercise. I like to spend time with my family and walking in nature.
Okay. What's your no? Care to share any no's?
Oh yes, I have a lot. Laundry, I think is the top. number 1. And then I think all house chores. I like to, yeah, anything is, I like to, it's like a contradiction because I like to have my house tidy. I like the state, you feel better if you have all, tidy. Yeah, totally. But at the same time, it's like, oh my goodness, I have to do this. And traffic.
Traffic, sadly, is a task we must all do. Anybody else, like, what'd you learn about your state of flow? What energizes you? Maybe that you have to do. Tasks, personal or professional? Yes, ma'am, Rachel.
I learned, you actually kind of got me started, but I love doing my taxes. I look forward to when it's open and I can start putting it in and I get it done the first day. And then along that line, I was like, I love making like financial budgeting lists and things like that. It has nothing to do with my job. I'm an advisor. I'm a counselor for students. And so the no's are actually things that are like long writing things, like long applications, long surveys whenever I have to fill out a long survey or something. But I love finances and numbers and things like that.
Okay, great. Anybody else willing to share their flow and their no? Anyone else? Yeah, Brenda.
Okay, so my no would be cleaning bathrooms, working in my CRM, writing letters, and exercising. Oh, it's terrible. Connecting with people, attending events where I can connect my family, and crafting.
I love it. You are a crafter. Brenda and I met crafting many years ago. One more. Anybody else willing to share a flow or no from over here? These tables are quiet. Or, we can take it from anywhere, but anyone got a flow or a no you'd be willing to share? Otherwise, I'll go here. Okay.
So this feels really bad, but like I love giving talks. I love being in your shoes, like presenting and so forth. So I'm a professor, but my no is like when my kids are demanding. I just don't like kids drain me. Isn't that terrible? I feel bad. I feel like a bad mom.
Say it. You just speak your truth, Bonnie. You speak it like right here. Okay, so as you hear people share their flows and their no's, I want to ask you this question if this popped out at you. As somebody sharing a flow, are you like, I hate doing that. I called you a weirdo. I love you. I'm sure you're a lovely person, weirdo. Who loves doing her taxes, loves budgeting. And we look at that and we're like, but I don't like that. You know what I love? I love long surveys. I love when people ask for my opinion and I can write a long, lengthy essay type response. I love that. But give me a budget and I don't. So what's interesting when we go through a flow, go, no state is that because all of us have to do our taxes, all of us often have to write essays, and we try to be positive about what we're doing, we don't realize that we are draining our batteries. Sometimes we do, but sometimes we don't realize that we spend so much time in our no state that we do drain our batteries, and that not everyone's flow state is the same. Many of you know Jeanette Bennett, the founder of Bennett Communications and Utah Valley Magazine, and she is a dear friend of mine, and I love her. And she said, she loves telling the stories of the Valley, and she was interviewing a well-known restaurateur in the area, and she was interviewing him, and she said, "What is your dream? What was your dream when you were a child?" And he said, "Well, everybody knows my dream was to start a restaurant. That's everybody's dream." And she said, "No, it's not. It's to start a magazine." Everybody has a different flow state or no state. I love those of you who love networking. Networking to me is a requirement of my job. It actually really drains batteries. I want to just go home and put on yoga pants and curl up with a book at the end of a week. That would not be like, let's go out and meet more people. Whew. So understand and pay attention to your flow state, because it can be huge. And ask yourself, if you have a lot of things that are in your flow state, more than you can accomplish in a day, because we're trying to multiply our magic, there are some things maybe even in flow state that you're going to need to let go. So ask yourself, as I look at all these things that I love to do, are there some that are on this list that only I can do, that I can't delegate or have a friend or my partner or someone at work do? Because don't delegate the things that only you can do. As a piece of this, I actually love to clean my bathrooms. I find it really therapeutic. I would love to spend every Saturday after a long week of work. I love coming home and doing everything from waxing my floors to scrubbing my own toilets, the smell of Lysol in the morning. It is a happy, happy thing. I love a pristine, sparkling shower and being the person with the vinegar on the cloth to get it there. Like, that is really rejuvenating to me. But years ago, my husband said to me on a Saturday morning after I had been cleaning, he's like, you work really hard all week and you're awesome. And I love that you care about the house. And I love that you love cleaning the house. And also, we have little kids. And on Saturday mornings, would you be willing to just slow down and maybe stay in bed with them a little longer? Like, just play with them. Like, they have a sitter, and that's awesome. And this is not saying that daycare is not okay. It so is. It's great. You do what you need to do, and you balance your life. But his take to me was, could you not outsource your motherhood to the television on Saturday morning? Like, somebody else could clean our toilet, and you are the only person who can do that. So if you would just stay in bed until like 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays, instead of jumping right out at exactly the same time and starting to clean the showers, nobody else can do that. I can't do that. The neighbors can't do that. The television can't do that. So I had to actually say, you know what, he's right. And we hired a cleaning service to come in, because I still needed to have the clean bathrooms. I couldn't let that go, but I could delegate it to someone else so that I could choose the flow state thing that only I could do. So as you look at your list of flow state, whether you are, it says motherhood, it should say parenthood, it should say personhood, whatever the thing is, CEO-hood, neighborhood, whatever the thing is that only you can do in your life, make sure you keep it. Keep it super tight. And then lastly, multiply the effort of others. Quick video to show.
Are we greeting each other this way now? Because I like that.
Look! I cleaned! I did the windows, I did the floors. I even used all those attachments on the vacuum, except for that little round one with the bristles. I don't know what that's for.
Oh, yeah, nobody knows, and we're not supposed to ask.
Oh, what do you think?
Very clean.
It's great, really, it looks great.
Very clean.
Oh, I see you moved the green ottoman. How did that happen?
I don't know. I thought it looked better there. And also it's an extra seater on the coffee table.
Yeah, it's interesting. But you know what? Just for fun, let's see what it looked like in the old spot. Just to compare. Let's see. Ha! Well, it looks good there too. Let's just leave it there for a while.
Can't believe you tried to move the green ottoman.
Thank God you didn't try to fan out the magazines. I mean, she'll scratch your eyes right out.
Guys, I am not that bad. Yeah, you are, Monica. Remember, I lived with you? You were like a little, you know.
That is so unfair.
Oh, come on. When we were kids, yours was the only Raggedy Ann doll that wasn't raggedy.
Okay, so I'm responsible, I'm organized, but hey, I can be a kook.
All right, you madcap gal. Try to imagine this. The phone bill arrives, but you don't pay it right away.
Why not?
Because you're a kook. Instead, you wait until they send you a notice.
I could do that. Okay. Then you let me go grocery shopping, and I buy laundry detergent, but
darn it, it's gonna
not
hiccup.
the one with the easy
Hang on.
pour spout. Why would someone do that? One might wonder.
Someone's left a glass on the coffee table. There's no coaster. It's a cold drink. It's a hot day.
She says,
Little beads of condensation are inching their way closer and closer to the surface of the wood.
Stop it! Oh my God. It's true. Who am I?
Monica, your mom.
Wait.
okay, so Monica's amazing. And if you're Monica in the room, hopefully you're taking something away where you can be a little less Monica and still every bit as amazing. But what happened? Break down the scene for me. What happened in this scene? We start with Rachel, who is jubilant. She has cleaned the apartment. What went wrong? She moved the green ottoman. She did it not the Monica way. And immediately, what happens to Rachel? Watch what happens to Rachel. She goes from, wah, to, I don't even know what I did wrong, but I did something wrong, right? And sometimes as a leader, this is the way I feel as a mom all the time. Do you ever feel this way? Like, oh my gosh, why can't somebody lift a finger to do something? And then you're like, oh, that's not the way you do it. Holy cow, we're killing the hustle. There is a great book, if you haven't read it. I love Liz Wiseman's work. It's called Multipliers. And as we are all leaders, even of our own best lives. One of my favorite chunks of this book is a last thought that I'll leave you with. And this is a trap that leaders often, amazing men and women who are wonderful go-getters, who are our Monicas, they are high achievers. They pay their bills the day that they come. They never would let a coaster or a cup go without a coaster underneath it. But they also may do some of these things. So these are talents. These are actual talents that you have as a leader, but we're focused on leading with less this morning. So lead with less and get more by refraining and restraining your accidental diminisher. Here are some tactics that if they sound familiar to you, you just need to put them on a leash a little bit. Are you a rescuer? You see somebody in trouble and you your helicopter to the rescue. I've got an answer for that. I will save you. I will pay your bill. I will help you register for that class. I will go stand in line for you. What you are actually teaching someone is what? I can't do it myself, and I need Becky, I need Bonnie, I need Brenda, I need Brianna to come in and save me. I'll make an effort, but I don't have to give it my best, because I know that somebody's going to show up and save me. Number 2, an idea fountain. Isn't it great when you're a leader to help stimulate ideas on your team? I think this is an amazing talent to have. Why does it diminish others to be an idea fountain? They just stop. They will sit there and wait quietly for you to have all the ideas, because Kristine always has all the big ideas, and they won't be innovative, or they'll second guess if their ideas are even good enough to be brought to the table, for sure. And you think you're stimulating ideas, you might actually be squelching ideas. Number 3, you are always on or a rapid responder? I think we touched on this one a little bit too, in that when you are a leader, you are teaching your team that they have to always be on and be a rapid responder. So we think that's an amazing talent. But have you ever sent someone a link to a 2-minute video and they respond 30 seconds later with a thumbs up? If you are a rapid responder, you are probably not even adequately digesting the comments, the thoughts, the suggestion that someone has given you. If you have a team member who's given you a paper to read and you respond an hour later, thanks a lot, great ideas. Did you absorb and reflect and think about their ideas, or are you so keen to respond that you're actually signaling, I didn't give it enough thought? And above all else, optimist. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is the Kristine trap. But I think this is an interesting one. Why is it bad to be an optimist above all else? Think about that with me. And I don't have a right or a wrong idea. I think there are a number of them. Why is it challenging to be an above all else optimist as a leader? Yeah. It can be invalidating. Ooh, say more. Yes, say more about that. Oh, I love that. It can, so for the mic's sake, it can diminish the other feelings that people are having in the room. Were you going to add something too?
I was going to say, it takes away people's space to live in reality. So if everything is always good, that's not real. And then it takes away your team's ability to say, this thing is hard for me and I need help.
Yeah, I think, and it is like we're trying to give our teams these big, hard challenges. You know what my tendency, my trap is? I'll lay out the challenge and it'll be this big, hard, grisly thing that we're trying to wrestle with. And then I'll be like, but we got this, go team. And they all look at me like, are you kidding? And I'm just sort of patting them on the butt as they leave the office. And they're like, was that it? And both of you are just so spot on. Part of leadership is allowing people to be radically uncomfortable, and we're not giving them the space to just say, I don't get it, or I'm confused. And then that ultimately can be the thing that helps create the idea or the unstuck or whatever else. And it exists everywhere. Optimism is such a wonderful, wonderful gift, but it's the above all else that quashes the ability for us to also deal with doubt and uncertainty or panic or fear. And we can't get rid of those by burying them. And then last, the pace setter. You are running so fast. Like, look at all the things that I can do. Again, you're just setting a standard that may not be duplicable and that ultimately will lead to burnout. And as you contemplate running this race and thinking about leading with less and being that kid who's in the 99th percentile, the only person who is running the race is you. You are the only one on the track. You can't beat yourself, so stop trying. Stop trying. Lead with a little bit less and really enjoy doing it. I hope that I've left you with some ideas where you can move from a 2 to a 3. Make your bed, say kind words to yourself. You will be more in control of your day. Multiply your personal magic by knowing what's in your flow, your go, your no, and then don't outsource your motherhood or your fatherhood or your sisterhood. Hang on to the things that only you can do and bless and release the rest. And then multiply the efforts of others by whether they are your roommates or your partner or your workmates, by ensuring that you show up positive and prepared, but not so perfectionistic that they can't be doubtful or uncertain or know that you're going to walk with them. So I hope you like me, recovering perfectionists, learn to lead with less and love it. And thanks to Dr. Hall and to Brenda and everybody for having me and for coming. I just appreciate you so much. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you so much, Kristine. Any questions for Kristine before we let her off the hook here? So many?
I don't think so, Brenda. I could ask you questions all day.
Can we take the list that you had us judge ourselves?
The 10, the score.
That's now going to be my daily list.
Oh, good. I love that. Yeah, should I, if you didn't get a picture of it, do you want me to just scroll back? That list is super, super helpful. Like, share it with people that you love, and you'll be like, what? How is that? How is that the list? Here we go. There you go. Oh, here, I'll put the score up too.
How do you navigate, or you can just give me, how do you navigate working for a perfectionist and you feel inadequate? Sometimes it's really hard when everything you're saying happens and you're like, how do I not take this personally, I guess?
Because their standard is so impossibly high that they're also, some of the things that they're challenging you to do feel deflating.
Even not trusting me to do things, or
I would.
I mean?
There are two pieces that I would of counsel that I would share. First, have them come to this class. Secondly, so first of all, I think self-awareness is something we all think we have, and very few people do. And the person that you are working with, some people really welcome self-awareness, or the opportunity to become more self-aware. So I think that it depends on if the person that you're talking about welcomes that, then it can really be I need to talk to you about some things, and you are great. You are Monica. I love you, Monica, but you do not have self-awareness that some of these things, and she might be like, oh my gosh, I'm that person. But if it's not a safe space, then really you have a couple of different options. Number one starts with saying kind things to yourself in the mirror. Charla, you got this. Everything to achieve, nothing to prove. Because we also note, ain't nobody going to change nobody except the zebra and their own stripes. And so either you can live in a safe space with that person and talk to them and they have their own Monica moment, or you work on your own time tamers and your own peace, and you literally are, I'm telling you, meditation gets me through the day. Exercise chases away the bad. When I come home from the gym, my husband often says, did you run away from your problems? And I say, yes, I did. So there's a lot that we can do, and ultimately at the end of the day, it is about you. All your choices are your own. They have to be.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Jill.
So for number one, go to bed, get up at the same time. I didn't have a perfect score for that, of course. So I'm wondering, do you get up at the same time? I guess I didn't hear I didn't hear it clearly enough how you explain that that's the best, because for me, it isn't the best to do it most of the time, so I was a sometimes person. Yeah. Can you just explain it?
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course. It really is just tapping into our circadian rhythm the best we can. How many of you find that when we have the time change, either we're springing forward or we're falling back, it can mess us up for days? And you're like, it's just an hour, it's just a trick of the mind, but it's not. And so the idea behind this one is just really leaning into the rhythms of our body clock and letting it do the work. My son, who is here, who had to leave, he is the most amazing example of this. He's almost 22 years old. I've never woken him up, not one time. He's up every single day between 5:55 and 5:57. I can hear him getting up. And I didn't train him that way. He was born that way. But he's super disciplined, and he has a really regular cadence. Of all my children, he's also the one who is the least tired, the most disciplined. He knows when he's productive and when he's not. And so really, it can be a hard thing. For some people, it's ingrained and it's born that way. I didn't have to teach it to him. I didn't have to suggest it to him. For some of us, getting on that train is really, really difficult. And I think, too, here's the other trick. Your ideal time may be different than someone else's. Like I said, my husband's a night owl. He literally goes to bed by 2 o'clock every morning. So I'm not saying what time is right or not. He knows his own body rhythms, and he's like, I'm really productive after midnight. And so for him, that golden time, he's like, if I were to go to bed at 11 when you do, I would be missing my best and most productive time of the day. But that also means that when I'm up and going at 6, he isn't. He better be making his bed after I leave for work. But I think so part of it is get up and go to bed, but you may need 7 hours of sleep. You may need 8. My husband can get by on about 5.5, and so he's typically up by 8, even when he's down at 2:30. The strength in it comes in repetition. We become a flywheel where that which we start to do that's hard at first will become easier, to becoming natural, to becoming almost impossible to slow down. And I think that's where we want to get. Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to talk about number 5, honoring office hours and meeting-free zones. But before I ask the question, one of the things I really have tried to focus on is recognizing my faults as a leader. And so I'm very conscious not only at work, but also at home. And with that, I consider myself a workaholic. And I've been working on that as well. But my team recognizes that I work all the time, and it doesn't matter. I can send emails at 2 o'clock in the morning or at 6 o'clock in the morning because I'm always on. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. And so when my team they started feeling like they couldn't be sick, they couldn't call in sick. And so I had a meeting with them, and I said, if you're sick, you're sick. I want you to stay home and take care of yourself. It's a mental health thing. If that's what it is, stay home and take your sick day. And I think as a team, they totally appreciated that comment, because now they're calling in and you can feel the relaxation in them. And I always tried to just check in with them to make sure that they are doing okay now, because I don't want them to follow my lead. And that's kind of what I told them.
Super vulnerable on you, Ruby. I think we also have a society where workaholism is a status symbol. We say, I'm trying to get better, but then we're like, this is my favorite vice. My favorite vice is working too much. And I love that we can have the vulnerability to call it out with our teams. My boss is awesome. Before I even started at my new job, he sat down with me and he said, here are the things I am bad at, and where I'm going to tell you where I might show up a little rough around the edges as a perfectionist or whatever else. He said, I'm very demanding. He said, I struggle with people who don't match my energy. And he's like, and it's not okay. Not everybody needs to have my level of energy, but that's something I'm working on. Like, he told me that before I even had day 1, and I'm like, I like him even better, because he is giving me the signposts. And he said, please check me. If I start to show up with workaholism as a status symbol, or if I start to seem crunchy to people on your team because they're not matching my energy, and they shouldn't match my energy. They're entry-level people who are making a third what he's making, and he's like, I know that logically, but I'm still kind of like, why aren't they here as long as I am? And why do they go home at 5 o'clock, mere mortals? And he's like, so would you point that out to me when I am that way? And I'm like, I love that kind of a leader who is aware enough of his tendencies and is calling that out to me as his subordinate, even on day 1. Watch for this and help me be better. So great. So great. Any others? Yes, ma'am.
As we were going through like this state of the things that are flow for us, is there a balance in what we do in our jobs, or can we actually find a job where we are doing things that make us thrive all the time?
Oh, I love that. So whenever I am meeting with a new team or starting in a new job, I actually have just finished putting my entire marketing team at RevRoad through State of Flow, Go, No. I have them go through this exercise, and then I meet with them as it pertains to their job. Because my goal as their leader is to align them with as much flow state as possible, because I'll get more out of them, and they'll stay longer, and they'll perform better. As much flow state as possible. But go, we skipped over that in this, right? Because it's just kind of in the middle. Go is actually one of my most important chunks as a leader, because those are the things where I'm like, where can I count on you, Charla? Where can I also tap you if I'm shy on events, if I need more help in social media, will you be willing to do that? And so often for me as a leader, we didn't spend any time on it today, but as a leader, I work on the go state a lot, because it lets me know it may not light you on fire, but it's something you're good at and you're willing to do. And often if I can get people living in about 60 to 70% flow state, and at about 20% go state, where I can use them to overlap on areas that are not theirs, but I need things to get done, then I can dramatically minimize the no state. And what's really helpful for people, a lot of people can identify what they're great at and what they love doing, flow. It's the go and the no that are always the juiciest part of this conversation. And segregating those gets really important for me as a leader, because sure. And the surer I can get, the more that I can the no parts, so that there's less and less. And I would encourage you, if you are a leader, or if you have a leader on your team, have them put the whole team through flow, go, no. And I think you'll find we made some adjustments. We made some adjustments on our team. My copywriter at RevRoad said, I would really like to do a little bit more with social media. And I'm like, okay, you are a copywriter, that's your flow state, but you want to be a little more involved in social media. I can make that your go. What else is your no? And he's like, I really hate this particular thing. And I'm like, as it happens, there's somebody else on the team for whom that was a go state. And it allowed me to shuffle people's rice bowls around in a way that I hope makes everybody feel a little bit happier and want to stay. But you have to have those conversations. And the joy of that really is in go, that we did not discuss at all today.
Sorry, can I ask a follow-up to that?
Sure.
If you have a leader who doesn't do these things, how do you convince them of like doing less of the no?
Ooh, that's really good. So I'm going to answer it in almost the same way that I answered Charlotte's question. You can suggest, you can invite, you cannot change. And so ultimately, the change that you, what is it? Is it the Mother Teresa quote? The change, be the change you wish to see in the world. If your world is out of alignment with your flow and your go, and you are getting a disproportionate amount of no, and you have worked and asked and gone through the exercises if they're open to it, and if they're not open to it, then you know what you need to do. You know what you need to do, and that's why we make changes, all of us. Any others? Hi, Gabby. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm so good.
Okay, I know that one of my biggest problems is I feel like if I'm not constantly doing something, then I'm like not worthy almost. How would you say you deal with that feeling of if you're not doing something, like what are you doing? Or imposter syndrome or something like that? How do you feel? Yeah.
I think, first of all, I love that question because I think it's called activity as identity. We begin to think that we are the things that we do. And I think that's a really huge thing. So just as a quick personal note, I sold a company a couple of years ago, and then over the last year, I've kind of taken a break. And it's been very disorienting. Before I started at RevRoad, I took about a 15-month break working for a different company that was a radically less demanding than being the CEO of my previous company. And when you are used to a run, even a jog feels like a crawl, right? And it was liberating. It was wonderful. It was super disorienting at first because I'm like, I'm the one who works 80 hours a week. I'm the person who's the CEO. And to move to being at a kinder, gentler, slower paced environment and company, at first it was super disorienting because my identity had been my activity. And instead, I found that I really enjoyed more deeply connecting with my smaller team. I went from a team of 150 to a team of 10, Brianna, that we worked with. Much, much smaller team, but got to know them much more as individuals. I spent a lot more time. Honestly, I channeled my activity into running. I set myself a goal of hitting 100,000 steps a week and hit it for the last 15 months, something that I couldn't have done. So I had all this activity. I started writing a book. I started doing some fractional CMO work. I reconnected with dear, dear friends who I had lost touch with. Julie Giles and I went out to lunch again, and I hadn't seen her for years. Brenda Betteridge and I, who hadn't seen. So you have this activity when you are like, I don't know what to do. Work is infinite. Time is finite. I learned in the last 15 months with a very intentional shift in my priorities away from workaholism, that reconnecting my amazing mother. I began visiting my mom and dad once or twice a week. She's 80 years old. But I'm not going to have my amazing parents close by forever. So I channeled a lot of that extra workaholism that had gone into being a CEO, into being a friend, into being a daughter, into being a mom, into being an author. You can find amazing activity that resets your identity if you get lost along the way. Sometimes you need to do that. Sorry, I didn't know that was in there.
Okay, thank you so much, Kristine. We appreciate that. So many helpful tips in there that I'm sure we are all eager to apply. It'll be interesting if you come back to this in some time and see how you're scoring relative to today. So hold yourself accountable, or maybe find a partner in the room that you can check in with to see how you're doing. We still have time available. You are welcome to stay and mingle with your fellow attendees here. Our next Impact Den event will be in this same place on April 24th, the morning of April 24th, and we will have a panel of some phenomenal leaders joining us, including but not limited to Kristen Wright, Melanie Parrish-Jones, and Kat Kennedy. So we hope that you can save that time on your calendar, April 24th again, and you can expect to see a link to sign up for that drop to your inbox. So thank you so much for coming today, and thank you again, Kristine.